Hi everyone, let's review how to create a linear equation from a graph. We'll begin by finding the initial value. Remember that the initial value is the place where the line begins on the vertical axis. In this case, there's $200 in the bank before any weeks have passed. So that means that there's $200 starting in the bank account. The rate of change we can calculate by drawing two known points and creating a rate triangle between these 2 points. We can use that to find the rise and the run, and then we can use the formula rate of change equals rise over run to figure out the rate of change. Now we can use this information to find the story. So we know that the balance starts at $200 and it increases. We know this because the line is going up from left to right. It's a positive correlation. It increases by $50 per week. That's the rate of change. So we can use this information to create our equation. Remember that an equation is always in the form dependent variable equals rate of change times independent variable plus the initial value. In this case, our dependent variable, or the variable that's going up and down on the graph, can be M for money. For our rate of change, we have 50, and our independent variable will be what is going horizontally on the graph, weeks in this case. Perhaps we can use a W. To that, we will add the initial value of $200. And now we have our equation. M equals 50 times W plus 200. The great thing about creating an equation such as this is that we can use it to extrapolate for values beyond our graph. So for instance, we could use our equation to find out how much money would be in the bank account after 12 weeks if deposits were to have continued at the same rate of $50 per week. So let's substitute $12 in for the number of weeks and see what happens. When we multiply 50 by 12, we get 600. So we'll add this to the $200 for the initial value to find that the overall amount of money that would be in the bank account after 12 weeks would be $800. In our second example, we'll look at what's happening when money is being taken out or withdrawn from the account each week. As we can see from the graph, the initial value is 500. That means that there was $500 in the bank account to begin with. We can calculate the rate of change by connecting two known points and using our rate of change formula, rise over run, to be able to find the amount of money that's being spent or withdrawn each week. From this, we can create the story. So the balance starts at $500 and decreases because it's a negative correlation on the graph. It's going down from left to right by $100 per week. Our equation again will be dependent variable equals rate of change times independent variable plus the initial value. We can use M for money for our dependent variable, the one going up and down on the graph. That will be equal to negative 100 for the rate of change times W for the independent variable for weeks plus the initial value of 500. Another way that we could write this equation would be M equals 500 minus 100W. That way it would be clearer that the balance is starting at $500 and decreasing by $100 per week. Now we can use this equation to extrapolate if the spending were to continue at this rate of negative $100 per week. How long would it take for the account to be at negative $1,200? In this case, the negative $1,200 is the amount of money we would have. So we're going to substitute that in for M. And that means we're going to have to solve this equation to isolate W, or to get W by itself. Let's see what happens when we do that. We will need to move the 500 across the equal sign to be with the rest of the money. Remember that when an item crosses the equal sign, it will change its sign. So if it was a positive 500, as it is on the one side of the equation, when it goes to the other, it will become a negative 500. So we will have negative 1,200 subtract 500 equals negative 100W. We can clean up on the left-hand side to say that negative 1,200 subtract 500 is actually equal to negative 1,700. On the other side, we'll still have negative 100W. To get rid of that negative from out front of that W, we're going to need to divide both sides by negative 100. This is going to leave us with 17 equals W. This means that it will take 17 weeks for the account to reach a balance of negative $1,200. This is all assuming that the bank account has an overdraft limit and that it is at least $1,000 $200, because otherwise, once you reach zero, you wouldn't be able to withdraw any more money from the bank account.